today.
Anytime the head is hit, they usually call it. And, she gets her really hard there.
Any contact above the shoulders is an automatic review.
Angel Reese nailed Caitlin Clark right on the head and then got benched for it. To be honest, this isn't a fun or exciting situation for Clark. The physical demands and high expectations on and off the court, combined with the pressure from social media and various rumors, have made things really tough for her. Caitlin Clark is trying to stay calm in the midst of chaos. It's definitely not easy or enjoyable, as the world keeps pulling her into the storm. Over her few years in the public eye, Clark's story has shifted from being a fun tale about a record-breaking college basketball star, drawing attention to women's basketball, to a hot topic involving race, sexuality, fame, money, and opportunity. Now, it's come back to focus on her turnover rates in her early WNBA season. Clark has highlighted the importance of mental health, emphasizing that reaching out for help is crucial. "I can achieve everything in my life," she said. "I'm not afraid to ask for help and tell people, today is just not my day, and that's okay. Not every day has to be perfect." The concern goes beyond just Clark herself. Tennis legend Serena Williams recently praised Caitlin Clark for managing early success, despite social media negativity. In an interview with the New York Post at the Tribeca Festival, where she discussed her docuseries, Serena was asked about Caitlin. She responded saying she loves that Clark stays grounded and avoids looking at social media. Sharing some advice with Caitlin, Serena emphasized the importance of sticking to her path, regardless of others' negativity, noting that such negativity often stems from others' inability to achieve what she does. Serena expressed hope that Clark will keep up her current approach.
I just love that she tries to stay grounded, and she says she doesn't, what did she say? She doesn't have a social, she doesn't look at her social, and I get it. I don't either.
Relating to Clark's tough start in her career, Serena Williams shared her own experiences with similar negativity during her early days as a rising tennis star. Serena recalled being bullied and noted that some of the things she endured back then would lead to people being canceled today. Earlier this year, Serena also expressed interest in owning a WNBA team. In a conversation with CNN, she said she'd definitely be interested if the right market presented itself. Serena emphasized the need for the right catalyst and the right people, noting that women's sports are currently experiencing a moment they always deserved. She believes it's time to support other women's sports like soccer and basketball. Serena acknowledges that Caitlin Clark's rise to fame has been remarkable. Currently one of the most popular athletes globally, Clark hasn't even played her first WNBA game yet. In her first 14 games, she's on track to win Rookie of the Year, averaging 15.6 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 6 assists, with shooting percentages of 36.7% from the field and 32.2% from three-point range. However, Clark is facing intense physical play and is currently leading the league in turnovers with 5.5 per game. Amid all the attention, fans are concerned about her mental health and well-being. At just 22, it's understandable to worry about how the WNBA star will handle the pressure over time. Caitlin Clark admits that sometimes she wishes for a normal life, as the constant attention and media can be exhausting. "There are days when you don't want to talk to anyone," Clark explained, "but someone will come up to you, and it's their 10-second interaction, so you have to smile and be polite. But sometimes, you just want to be normal." So far, Clark seems to be managing the pressure well, but as her fame continues to grow, fans are increasingly worried about her mental health. Being a celebrity has its drawbacks, though the benefits often outweigh them. With that in mind, we're sending our best wishes to Caitlin Clark, who is only 22. The latest chapter in Clark's thrilling journey took place on Sunday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in downtown Indianapolis, where she faced off against Angel Reese. Reese, a rookie for the Chicago Sky, is no stranger to high-profile matchups with Clark, having battled her in the 2023 NCAA National Championship game, where Reese's LSU Tigers defeated Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes. That game ended with Reese famously pointing at her ring finger and mocking Clark's "you can't see me" hand gesture. Clark and Iowa got a measure of revenge when they eliminated Reese and LSU in this year's Elite Eight. Attendance for the game was notably high. Merchandise sales soared by up to 756%, and it was expected that this latest Clark-Reese matchup would set new viewership records. Clark remarked, "Nes so tennis. I think it's the emotion and passion we play with that makes women's sports exciting. It's something that wasn't always appreciated but should be. We're competitors, and that's how the game should be. Intense and physical, but ultimately both teams are just trying to win. In their second professional matchup, the Fever secured a 91-83 victory, and it might have been Clark's best all-around performance of her 15-game career. She scored 23 points on 11 shots, contributed 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 block shots. During the game, Reese made a dramatic move by hitting Clark across the head while trying to block her layup in the third quarter, which led to a flagrant foul for Reese. Clark's reaction was impressively calm. "What was going through my mind was that I needed to make these 2 free throws," she said. "That's all I was focused on. It's just part of basketball." She was just trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. It happens. The tension had been building since the last meeting between the Sky and Fever on June 1st, when Clark was body-checked by Chicago's Chennedy Carter away from the ball in the closing moments of what ended up being a 1-point win for the Fever. Reese celebrated the play, which was later ruled a flagrant foul. Clark has made an effort to steer clear of societal debates, avoiding social media and refraining from engaging in the heated discussions that often dominate sports media and beyond. Her approach is to stay focused on basketball. However, she faced criticism recently for dismissing a question about how some commentators use her name to support various political or cultural views. "I don't see it," Clark told reporters. "That's not where my focus is. My focus is on basketball. That's where it needs to be, and I'm just trying to get better every day." Despite her efforts, opinions continue to swirl, with some arguing that she should be on the team to boost visibility for women's sports, while others claim that her inclusion, despite being largely unproven, highlights a double standard. Imagine when Clark really starts hitting her stride. The Fever, with a 5-10 record, have won 4 of their last 6 games. Clark has shared a detailed perspective on her path toward a championship, acknowledging the difficulties along the way. "For someone like me, it can be really tough at times because you want everything to be perfect," Clark said. "You feel like you're just 1 or 2 plays away from making a few more shots, taking better care of the ball, or playing stronger defense."
Awards are for those who truly shine and make a significant impact in sports, and the ESPYs know exactly who deserves them. Caitlin Clark, the rising star, made headlines by winning 2 awards at the ESPYs. She was honored with the Best College Athlete, Women's Sports, and Best Record-Breaking Performance Awards during the ceremony on July 11th.
Very surprised. I mean, honestly, Caitlin Clark has done so much, not only for women's college basketball, obviously what she's doing in the WNBA, but just women's sports in general, so she's been huge.
But receiving the awards was a bit more interesting than you might think. Clark accepted her first award during the red carpet broadcast, where Serena Williams later hosted the show. She received her second award, beating out NFL player Christian McCaffrey for Best Record-Breaking Performance. Unable to attend the event in person, Clark shared her gratitude through a virtual message saying, "I just wanted to say thank you for this recognition. Obviously, I could not be there tonight. I'm a little busy in Indianapolis." She expressed her appreciation for the support from her teammates and coaches at the University of Iowa, stating the award means a lot to her and her teammates and coaches. "It's special for all of us, and it was a special year in women's athletics. Thank you, ESPN." She concluded her message by acknowledging the other nominees and winners, saying, "I just want to give a shout out to all the nominees and award winners tonight." She expressed her wish to be there, but mentioned how she couldn't attend after beating her favorite star, Diana Taurasi, on the court leading up to the ESPYs. Clark had the most nominations, including nods for Best Athlete, Women's Sports, Best College Athlete, Women's Sports, and Best Record-Breaking Performance, becoming the NCAA's all-time scoring leader. Her popularity surged following her standout college basketball career at the University of Iowa. In April, she was selected as the #1 overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft and debuted professionally with the Indiana Fever in May. Despite her accomplishments, Clark did not make the women's basketball team for the 2024 Paris Olympics. She responded to the news in June, telling IndyStar sports reporter Chloe Peterson that she's excited for the girls who are on the team. She knows it's the most competitive team in the world and understands it could have gone either way with her being on the team or not. She's just excited for them. Clark added, "I'm going to be rooting for them to win gold. I was a kid who grew up watching the Olympics. It'll be fun to watch them." She emphasized that she felt no disappointment and viewed it as motivation for future opportunities. Stephen A. Smith defended Clark against criticism related to her popularity in an exclusive interview with Us Weekly. He stressed that race is always a factor we can't ignore, but it doesn't always have to be negative. He said, "She happens to be white, but also happens to be a terrific basketball player, a terrific person with a terrific family background, and terrific marketability assets." Following her achievements, the Indiana Fever rookie spoke about the representation of women's basketball at the ceremony, which garnered the attention of the basketball community. During a post-game conference, Clark admitted to watching the show from home and appreciated the involvement of women athletes, especially basketball players. She hinted at a bright future for the sport, stating, "I think it shows where women's basketball is going, and obviously women's athletics in general. Juju Watkins and Aja Wilson won. I won a couple. It shows the excitement around the game and how many people watch and pay attention to where it's going to go." This wasn't the first time she captured an SBI award. Clark was honored as the best women's college athlete, topping LSU gymnastics star Haley Bryant, Wisconsin volleyball star Sarah Franklin, and Northwestern lacrosse star Izzy Skane for the award. Clark had won the ESPY for Best Women's College Athlete in 2023 as well. She made some ESPY history on Thursday night with her win for Best Record-Breaking Performance, becoming the first woman to capture the award. On Friday, Clark and the Indiana Fever were gearing up to play host to the Phoenix Mercury. In a pre-game press conference, Clark was asked what it meant to be recognized as the first woman to capture the Best Record-Breaking Performance ESPY. She was certainly honored, but also couldn't believe she was the first woman to win the award. She thinks she probably shouldn't have been the first. She had this to say, "It probably shouldn't have been me to be the first woman to win that award. How does Serena Williams never win that award?" The fact that Clark is the first woman to win the award is kind of crazy when you think about it. Serena Williams is arguably one of the greatest women athletes of all time. During her dominance in women's tennis, Williams racked up 23 Grand Slam singles titles. There have also been plenty of other great female athletes since the ESPYs were introduced in 1993. Honestly, it's great to see Clark pay homage to one of the all-time great female athletes, Serena Williams. As a lifelong supporter of women's athletics, it's not surprising at all from Clark.
Caitlin Clark had an amazing year and is nominated for 3 awards.
Serena Williams hosted last night's ESPY Awards and did a pretty good job overall, but during her initial monologue, the 23-time Grand Slam champion made a controversial joke about Caitlin Clark. Williams joked about everything from Drake's beef with Kendrick Lamar to Shohei Ohtani's interpreter's gambling scandal. However, when she joked about the Indiana Fever guard, it took an unnecessary racial turn. Williams said, "Caitlin Clark had an amazing year and is nominated for 3 awards. You are the Larry Bird of the WNBA, an amazing player. You've got ties to Indiana, and white people are really crazy about you." On the surface, this isn't the worst thing ever said. The first 2 parts of the joke are true. Clark has been referred to as the WNBA's Larry Bird, and she does have ties to Indiana thanks to her pro team. But insinuating that only white people are fans of Caitlin Clark is both counterproductive and false. Clark has brought record viewership numbers for many WNBA games and has helped other teams bring in record attendance for games against the Fever. Just look at the crowds for her games against the Atlanta Dream and Las Vegas Aces. It's safe to assume that there's a decent number of non-white Clark fans in all these stadiums and elsewhere, but Williams' comment suggested otherwise. Unsurprisingly, Williams' comment went viral. Some fans thought Williams delivered a perfect joke at the ESPYs, while others thought it was divisive and unnecessary. Clark has not responded to Williams' joke and likely won't, as she never spreads hate or racism. She's a true generational star. So what are your thoughts on all these shenanigans and Caitlin winning those awards?
Diana Taurasi, a well-known veteran in the WNBA, has stated that her selection for Team USA was due to her 3 championship wins. This suggests that she thinks Caitlin Clark isn't fit to play in the Paris Olympics this year, as Clark hasn't won any championships yet. This statement seems to reveal a less flattering side of Diana. Let's compare Taurasi and Clark, especially given Taurasi's belief that Clark doesn't meet the standard for Team USA. It's evident now that Caitlin Clark's scoring average surpasses Diana Taurasi's when doubled. Taurasi has 3 NCAA championships to her name, while Clark hasn't won any, mainly because she was part of a star-studded team that won those titles. Both Clark and Taurasi have each earned 2 Naismith Player of the Year awards. Clark was an AP All-American throughout all 4 years of her college career, while Taurasi achieved that status 3 times. This WNBA season, Clark's stats are comparable to Taurasi's. Clark is averaging 16.8 points per game, slightly ahead of Taurasi's 16.3. Taurasi has notable rebounding stats for a guard, with 4.5 rebounds per game, while Clark averages 5.3 rebounds. The real difference lies in assists. Clark averages 6.3 assists per game, while Taurasi records just 1.1 assists. Clark's numbers are reminiscent of Taurasi's rookie season, where Taurasi averaged 17 points per game, just above Clark's current 16.8 average. This comparison highlights a troubling issue. Diana Taurasi's comments and Team USA's selections may not reflect the league's best talent. At 42, Taurasi's performance in 2024 doesn't measure up to Caitlin Clark or other WNBA players. It's worth questioning the rationale behind her spot on the roster. As the stats reveal, Caitlin Clark matches Diana Taurasi in scoring but surpasses her in rebounds, assists, and shooting percentages from both three-point range and the free throw line. The same trend applies when comparing Clark to Kelsey Plum. While Plum scores slightly more points, Clark leads in every other statistical category. Sabrina Ionescu's numbers tell a similar story, showing Clark's superior overall stats and game sense. Clark's achievements at Iowa are also more impressive compared to Taurasi's record at UConn. The Iowa Hawkeyes have reached the Final Four twice recently, thanks to Clark, while UConn won 3 titles with Taurasi and 6 more since she left, including 4 with Breanna Stewart, who succeeded Taurasi. UConn managed to replace Taurasi with an even better player. It's uncertain if the Iowa Hawkeyes will find a player of Clark's caliber again. Regarding the supporting cast, the only other Iowa Hawkeye to join the WNBA, besides Clark, was Kate Martin, who was drafted after attending the draft to support Clark. In contrast, Taurasi played at UConn with Sue Bird, a #1 pick and one of the greatest WNBA players ever, as well as Swin Cash, who won 3 college titles and 3 WNBA titles, among other first-round picks. Clark, despite facing a South Carolina dynasty with players like Camila Cardoso and last year's #1 pick, Aaliyah Boston, in her final college years, had a tougher supporting cast to contend with. Don Staley recognized Caitlin Clark as one of the greatest of all time, commending her for raising the profile of women's college basketball and accurately predicting she'd be the top pick and a strong presence in the WNBA. However, when it came time to support her statements and elevate women's basketball on the global stage at the Paris Olympics, Staley showed little interest and kept Clark off Team USA. While Caitlin Clark handled the situation gracefully, Colin Cowherd expressed his disapproval on FS1's The Herd last week. He pointed out that Caitlin Clark, who isn't considered one of the top 12 to 15 WNBA players, didn't make the Olympic team. Cowherd drew comparisons, noting that Christian Laettner wasn't among the top 100 NBA players but still made an Olympic team, and Jaylen Brown, a top 15 player, isn't on the upcoming men's Olympic team. According to Cowherd, talent alone doesn't guarantee a spot on the Olympic team. Politics play a significant role. Cowherd emphasized that Olympic basketball team selections, both men's and women's, have always been subjective and political. He cited Isaiah Thomas's exclusion from the team because Michael Jordan didn't like him. Cowherd believes that leaving Clark off the team is a missed opportunity. He argued that Clark would not only attract viewers to the women's Olympic team, but also boost her teammates' earnings and endorsements. He highlighted that the WNBA Finals drew 700,000 viewers, while the draft featuring Clark had 3 times as many. Cowherd compared Clark's potential impact to that of sports icons like Tiger Woods and Muhammad Ali, suggesting that she has been instrumental in putting women's basketball on the map. He emphasized the importance of seizing big opportunities, lamenting that women's basketball missed this wave to continue its upward trajectory in viewership and engagement. Cowherd stated that Clark could triple TV ratings and mentioned how the NBA would love to have a domestic star as popular as her. He pointed out that Anthony Edwards, who isn't as good as Jaylen Brown, was included on the men's team, highlighting the inconsistency in selections. Later in the episode, Cowherd spoke with Philadelphia 76 head coach Nick Nurse, who agreed with Cowherd's views but offered a different angle. "It's a mixed bag," Nurse said. "I can hardly believe it. I agree with you that the ratings and everything else would soar if Clark were on the team, but in a way, I'm happy for her. The pressure she's faced, taking Iowa to national championships twice, is immense. At least now she doesn't have to endure another round of intense scrutiny and pressure." Nurse wasn't alone in his surprise over Clark's exclusion from the roster. On FS1's Speak, Joy Taylor expressed her shock at the decision. She explained that there are 2 factors influencing team selection: who best represents the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team, and what would best grow the sport. Caitlin Clark is drawing attention, sponsors, filling seats, and sparking conversations. From a marketing and business perspective, you can't ignore the numbers she's generating, Taylor said. She framed the issue as a business decision and noted that from a marketing standpoint, leaving Clark out was a missed opportunity. It's conflicting for me because we need to focus on the sport itself, not just the novelty, the drama, the ratings, the religion, the politics, and the race, she added. Paul Pierce echoed Taylor's sentiments on FS1's Undisputed, saying that excluding Clark was a business misstep for women's basketball. You say you want to grow women's basketball, but you leave out the most popular player, Pierce said. Sometimes you have to recognize when something is bigger than the game.
Did you catch the WNBA All-Star Game? It was absolutely electrifying. The WNBA team totally outplayed Team USA, and guess who stood out? Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were incredible, but there's more. Cheryl Reeve, the coach of Team USA, had some interesting comments before the game.
The exposure, is there any second guessing here about not having Clark on the Olympic team?
From me? No.
Looks like someone seriously underestimated the rookie sensation, leading to a loss to the WNBA team. By the way, Clark didn't just play well, she broke the assist record. And Reese, she nailed a double-double, leaving everyone stunned. We need to address the elephant in the room, Cheryl Reeve. For those who don't know, she's the coach of the USA Olympic team. Just days before the All-Star game, Reeve made some pretty controversial comments about Caitlin Clark. But why all the animosity? We don't know exactly, but what we do know is Clark made history in this All-Star game. Let's dive into the numbers. Clark set a record with 10 assists, the most ever for a rookie in the All-Star game. That's right, in her first All-Star appearance, she nearly broke a record that many veterans haven't even come close to. Clark displayed game vision, precision in passing, and an incredible ability to read the court. She didn't just distribute the game, she did so in a way that elevated the entire WNBA team's performance. And what's even more impressive, she did all this under enormous pressure. Imagine her first All-Star game appearance, the controversy with Reeve, and the entire basketball world watching. Many would have crumbled, but Clark shined. This WNBA team's victory not only silenced the critics, but also raised an important question. How can someone with this talent be left out of the Olympics? Clark's performance in the first half of the season was definitely Olympic worthy, but besides Clark, we have to talk about Angel Reese. While Clark dominated with assists, Reese showed why she's considered one of the most promising rookies in the league. Reese managed an impressive double-double, scoring 12 points and grabbing 11 rebounds. And these weren't easy rebounds, many came from the attack, with Reese outpacing her opponents and positioning herself perfectly to get the ball. What makes this performance even more notable is that Reese started the game on the bench. She wasn't in the starting lineup, but when she hit the court, she made sure to show why she deserved to be there. Now let's talk about the MVP of the game, Arike Ogunbowale. If Clark and Reese represented the future, Ogunbowale showed that the present of the WNBA is just as bright. She had an absolutely spectacular performance, finishing with 34 points. The most impressive part, she made 8 out of 13 three-pointers. The numbers are incredible on their own, but they don't tell the whole story. Ogunbowale wasn't just making open shots, she was creating space, doing step backs, and hitting long-distance shots, often with defenders right on her. Her performance was crucial for the WNBA team's victory. Every time Team USA threatened to make a comeback, Ogunbowale would nail a three-pointer to maintain the lead. She didn't just score, she scored at the right moments. Ogunbowale's performance also highlights the depth of talent in the WNBA. We have Clark and Reese representing the future, but players like Ogunbowale show that the present of the league is in great hands. Now let's talk about Team USA's performance and Coach Cheryl Reeve's decisions. Despite their stellar lineup, Team USA couldn't effectively compete against the WNBA team. Players like Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson had solid performances. Stewart scored 31 points, and Wilson added 22 points and 6 rebounds, but it wasn't enough. The problem seemed to be more with strategy and team chemistry than individual talent. Several players seemed lost on the court, and the lack of cohesion was evident, especially compared to the fluidity of the WNBA team's play. The criticism of Cheryl Reeve was intense after the game. Many questioned her player choices and, more importantly, her in-game decisions. One point of criticism was the lack of tactical adjustments throughout the game. Even with the WNBA team dominating, Reeve seemed reluctant to change her strategy. This was in sharp contrast to the flexible and adaptive approach of the WNBA team's coach, Cheryl Miller. This game raised serious questions about Team USA's preparation for the upcoming Olympics. If they can't dominate an all-star game, how will they fare against well-trained and motivated international teams? The defeat of Team USA isn't just a surprising result, it's a wake-up call. It shows that individual talent isn't enough. You need strategy, team chemistry, and strong leadership from the coaching staff. The clock is ticking, and the Paris Games are approaching quickly. So what does all this mean for the future of the WNBA and women's basketball in the USA? We are at a crucial turning point. On one hand, we have Clark and Reese, two rookies who have just proven they can not only compete but dominate on a stage with the best players in the world. They represent a new generation of talent coming into the league with exceptional skills and a winning mentality. On the other hand, we have the established Team USA, led by Cheryl Reeve, who seems to be struggling to adapt to this new reality. The reluctance to recognize and embrace these new talents could cost them dearly in international competitions. The question that hangs in the air is, will Reeve and USA Basketball be able to make the choices that truly represent the best of American women's basketball? Or will we see talents like Clark being left out again for reasons beyond on-court performance? The USA has a tradition of dominance in Olympic women's basketball, but this hegemony could be at risk in the upcoming Olympics if the right decisions aren't made. This all-star game may have been just a preview of the drama to come. The tension between the old guard and the new generation, between tradition and innovation, is reaching a boiling point, and the outcome of this battle could very well determine the future of women's basketball in the United States and the world. Hey everyone, what we saw in this all-star game was more than just an exhibition. It was a glimpse into the future of women's basketball and a call for change. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese showed that the hype around them is well-deserved. They didn't just compete with the veterans, they often outperformed them. Clark nearly broke a historic assist record, while Reese dominated the rebounds. Arike Ogunbowale reminded us that the WNBA is full of established talents that continue to evolve and surprise. Her MVP performance was spectacular and crucial for the WNBA team's victory. On the other hand, the performance of Team USA and Cheryl Reeve's decisions raised serious questions about their preparation for the Paris Olympics. It's time for USA Basketball to reassess their strategies and player selections to ensure they're truly representing the best of American women's basketball.
Polls can be taken, and obviously I've been very fortunate to have so many great opportunities over the course of the last year, and I know there's going to be so many more great opportunities for me to come, so I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out.
One team, one player, and way too many scandals. If you haven't been keeping up with the WNBA, you're missing out on the drama of the decade. For some context, Team USA, which was supposed to be a lineup of the country's top players, just got defeated and embarrassed by a regular WNBA team. But wait, it gets even wilder. Guess who masterminded this defeat? None other than Caitlin Clark, the very player coach Cheryl Reeve snubbed for the Olympic team. What you're about to witness is one of the most controversial events in WNBA history. It's easy to say this is a story of pride, jealousy, and prejudice. This event was so rigged it made the basketball world question the very essence of fairness and foresight. In this video, we'll dive into the hidden truths behind the scenes, the dramas, and the scandalous aftermath of this event. But before we get into all that, remember at the start of the season when Cheryl Reeve went on her outburst? The WNBA was hyping Clark and showcasing her games, while the Lynx's games were only available on the team app. Reeve ranted about how the league is more than just one player, posting jealousy-fueled tweets like that. Then, we saw the controversial Olympic team selection where Clark didn't make the roster. The handling of it was a disaster. The selection committee gave a ridiculous reason, claiming they were afraid of how Clark's fans would react if she didn't play much, as if leaving her off the team entirely wouldn't cause a bigger backlash. All this drama led up to a game that was nothing short of extraordinary. But before we get into the game, check out who we have here. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, the two sensational rookies, teaming up and putting on a show against the Olympic team. Who would have thought we'd witness two of the biggest rivals play side by side in the WNBA? What a day to be alive. And it only gets crazier when you find out Angel Reese was pretty excited about being on the same team as Clark. In fact, Angel Reese shocked the world when she said this.
Same time.
Yeah, we haven't had that talk yet. Obviously, everybody can cheer for both of us for one day, so it's just going to be cool. So I'm excited. This is going to be first of many. I know we're going to be all-star teams together in the future.
At least someone finally recognized that Caitlin Clark is such an exciting player in the game. On the flip side, Cheryl Reeve firmly stood by her decision to exclude Caitlin from the Olympic team. In the All-Stars pregame interview, Reeve was asked if she had any second thoughts about Clark not making the team. Her response, she said this.
From me? No.
It's a pity Cheryl Reeve doesn't seem to like or respect Caitlin Clark. For those of us who follow Clark, we know how incredible she is. Earlier this month, she put on a show against Reeves' team, scoring 17 points, grabbing 3 rebounds, dishing out 6 assists, and making 2 steals. Most importantly, her 10 points in the crucial fourth quarter helped the Fever win, and the support from the Target Center fans showed just how much impact she's making. It's not just about talent. Clark has been displaying incredible maturity in her games. She's no longer hesitating on shots or forcing impossible passes. It's becoming obvious that many teams are trying to keep her out of the game, but she still finds ways to make an impact. She's playing smart, knowing when to attack and when to distribute passes, proving she deserves to be among the best in the league and that the Olympic team should have reconsidered leaving her out. Clark's influence on women's basketball is huge, even beyond the sport. Since joining the Pro League, she's boosted TV ratings, merchandise sales, and game attendance. Once again, she proved why she's the undisputed Rookie Player of the Century with her performance at the All-Star Game. Right after Cheryl Reeves' pregame comments, Clark made sure to make her eat her words. In the WNBA All-Star Game, Caitlin Clark had another chance to prove her worth, and she seized it brilliantly. Her performance was nothing short of spectacular, setting the rookie record for most assists in an All-Star game and making a statement with a remarkable pass to Aaliyah Boston, all while Cheryl Reeve was being interviewed live. Team WNBA, with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, not only played well but beat Team USA. The team Reeve assembled, full of stars like Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, and Brittany Griner, lost to the rookie she underestimated. You could see Reeve's determination to keep Clark from shining, picking her up all the way in the backcourt. While Clark only scored 4 points, she played an impressive game with strong defense and racked up 10 assists, just one shy of the All-Star Game record. Cheryl was so focused on neutralizing Clark that she let Clark and the WNBA All-Stars steamroll Team USA. Despite the Lynx having a solid season, things haven't been going well for Cheryl Reeve. Clark might not have had the best shooting night, but she showed why she's considered the best passer in WNBA history, breaking the record with 10 assists in an All-Star Game. She stunned everyone in the stands with an amazing pass while Reeve was being interviewed. Clark also helped Angel Reese put up a record-breaking performance, setting her up to become the first rookie to get a double-double in a WNBA All-Star game. Reese dominated the game, grabbing 11 rebounds and scoring 12 points. Clark's assist to Angel Reese was a clear statement that the 2 WNBA rookies are just as comfortable working together as they are facing off as rivals. This new angle of the play shows just how perfect their chemistry is. Just take a look at this pass and finish from the duo. That was electrifying to watch. It looked like they'd been playing together for years. Reese seemed pretty excited after the game and said,
"So cool. I know when she gets the ball, I'm running to look for the ball because I know she's going to throw it. So she's been great to play with."
The mutual respect between these 2 rising stars clearly shows what we already know. These rookies are here to shake up the league. You might have noticed how reserved Caitlin Clark was during the game. It was pretty evident that Cheryl Reeve was trying to hold her back. Even though Clark didn't score many points, she used her skills to set up plays and impact the game. With the Paris Olympics just around the corner, the controversy over Caitlin Clark's omission from the Team USA roster is heating up. This match seems to have intensified the debate, especially as Clark continues to shine in the WNBA and emerges as a strong contender for Rookie of the Year. Her exclusion from the Olympic team becomes even more questionable given her dazzling performance. This display of talent might force Reeve to reconsider her stance on Clark's Olympic spot, despite her previous claims of having no second thoughts. However, with the game so close, it's hard to imagine a last-minute change. For now, we'll have to watch the Olympics without Caitlin Clark and hope for her involvement in the coming season. What do you think?
The question in that everybody knows that the reason why our teams around the league are having sellouts are because Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are coming to town.
Many of you probably already know that Caitlin Clark put on an amazing performance against the Lynx. Seriously, she just took over the last quarter of the game in a way that no one saw coming. But wait, it gets even better. After the game, Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve admitted that Caitlin Clark and the Fever are the reason why the arenas are packed. The same Cheryl Reeve who left Clark out of the USA team is now recognizing her impact on the league. That's quite a turnaround, isn't it? At the start of the season, Caitlin Clark wasn't selected for the USA team, which surprised many, including herself. But instead of feeling down, Clark used this as motivation. Since June 8th, right after this decision, we've seen a different Clark on the court. She's playing at an insanely high level and is already being compared to the best players out there. Remember what Clark said to Christy Sides after not being chosen for the USA team? They woke up a monster. Looks like she was right, huh? Her performance since then has proven it. Caitlin Clark is playing with a mentality that reminds us of greats like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in terms of competitiveness. Her attitude on the court and the way she handles pressure are catching everyone's attention. Many people are saying it's something rare to see in the WNBA. Now, let's talk about the game that really put an exclamation point on this whole story, the matchup against the Minnesota Lynx. Clark simply dominated the last quarter of the game, showing exactly why she's considered one of the best rookies in the league, not just this season, but possibly of all time. Her performance was so impressive that even Cheryl Reeve couldn't ignore it. For those who don't know, Reeve is not only the Lynx's coach, but also the coach of the USA team, the same team that left Clark out. And what happened after the game, Reeve practically admitted that Clark and the Fever are the main reasons the WNBA arenas are packed. This is huge, folks. We have a highly respected veteran in women's basketball recognizing the impact of a rookie. And it's not just a casual compliment. Reeve is essentially saying that Clark is changing the game, attracting more fans and attention to the league. Clark's performance in this game wasn't just about the points scored or the assists distributed, it was about making a statement. She showed Reeve, the league, and all of us that she's ready for the big moments, that she can lead a team, make a difference when it matters most, and yes, fill the arenas. This game against the Lynx could very well be seen in the future as a pivotal moment in Clark's career. It was when she proved without a doubt that she belongs not only in the WNBA, but at the highest level of women's basketball, and she did it against the coach who left her out of the national team. But now let's dive into something important this season, the race for Rookie of the Year. This competition has been pretty tight, especially between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Until about 5 games ago, it was almost neck and neck. Angel Reese was having an amazing season with an impressive streak of double-doubles. She stood out as an elite rebounder and a solid defender throughout the season. On the other hand, Caitlin Clark has been exceptional. She leads the WNBA in assists and ranks high in other important categories like steals and rebounds for a guard. Clark has also had standout games against top teams like the Liberty. However, in recent weeks, we've seen a shift in this dynamic. While Clark has maintained her high level of play and even improved, Reese has faced some challenges. She's been dealing with increased defensive pressure, which has affected her performance. Another important factor in this race is team performance. Clark's Fever has significantly improved, while Reese's Chicago Sky has faced more difficulties. It's important to note that this Rookie of the Year race isn't just about individual stats. Team impact, consistency throughout the season, and the ability to shine in crucial moments are also key factors. At this moment, many analysts are putting Clark as the favorite for the award. Now let's dive into another hot topic, Caitlin Clark's prospects for the USA Olympic team. Earlier this season, Clark was surprisingly left out of the national team, which caught many off guard. So how might her stellar performance this season affect her future chances with the national team? It's important to understand that the USA women's basketball team is one of the most competitive in the world. Established and veteran players usually have priority, and it's rare for a rookie to make it straight to the Olympic team. However, Clark's case is challenging these norms. She's dominating on the court, and with 2 national team players currently injured, there's a chance she could be called up to fill a spot, similar to how Derek White replaced Kawhi Leonard on the men's team. Clark's performance this season can't be ignored. She's not only leading in key stats like assists, but also having a transformative impact on her team and the league. This kind of influence is exactly what coaches look for when assembling an Olympic team. Moreover, Clark's ability to stand out in important games and handle pressure is crucial. The Olympics are the ultimate stage in sports, and Clark has shown she can shine when the lights are brightest. Another point to consider is the evolution of the game. The USA team could benefit from Clark's dynamic playing style and long-range shooting ability, especially with current trends in international basketball. While the final decision on the Olympic team roster is still ahead, Clark's performance this season has undoubtedly put her in the conversation. She went from a surprising exclusion to a candidate who can't be overlooked, highlighting the impact she's had in such a short time in the WNBA. The WNBA season is far from over, and a lot can still happen. Caitlin Clark has set an incredible standard, but the big question is whether she can maintain this level of play for the rest of the season. The Indiana Fever still have crucial games ahead, including direct matchups with teams competing for playoff spots. The pressure on Clark will increase as each game becomes more important. How will she handle it? Additionally, other teams in the league are surely studying Clark's game and looking for ways to contain her. Will we see specific tactical adjustments to limit her impact? And if that happens, how will Clark and the Fever respond? The Rookie of the Year race is still wide open. While Clark seems to be leading now, Angel Reese or another talented rookie could still make an impressive final push. Every remaining game will be crucial in this race. And let's not forget about the Olympic team situation. Every performance by Clark is closely watched by the national team coaches. Will she be able to maintain this level of play consistently enough to force a reconsideration of her inclusion in the team? Finally, there's the broader impact on the WNBA. Will the Caitlin Clark effect continue to attract more fans and attention to the league, or will the excitement diminish as the novelty wears off? All these factors create an incredibly exciting and unpredictable end to the season. Every game, every play, and every decision can significantly impact the future of Clark, the Fever, and the WNBA as a whole.
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Caitlin Clark has become a key player for the Indiana Fever, just as everyone anticipated. Her influence on fans and both on and off the basketball court is boundless, showing no signs of slowing down even after more than a year. Caitlin bravely tackled the high expectations of women's basketball, from setting records to leading her Iowa team. She dealt with tremendous pressure, media scrutiny, and sponsorship commitments. Now, as she moves into the WNBA, new opportunities are on the horizon. Her sponsors remain loyal, and with graduation behind her, she can fully focus on her games. Clark's impact goes beyond her personal achievements. Her success in college has opened doors for others, inspiring a new generation of players. While she'll continue to attract attention, her journey symbolizes a broader rise for women's basketball. Promising talents like Rhea Jackson, Camila Cardoso, and Angel Reese are ready to further its growth.
Right now, Caitlin's just excited. Everyone pretty excited, and we're going to see her facilitate, really get the ball down to the post to Boston and the rest of her Indiana Fever teammates.
Yeah, and I think she's going to have a much easier time.
Caitlin Clark is more determined and motivated than ever as she embarks on a journey where pressure turns into opportunity, a lesson she's learned throughout her sports career. With her new teammates at Indiana Fever, she'll take the game to new heights, leaving a lasting legacy both on and off the court. It's clear that Caitlin's path won't be easy, given the high expectations from her teammates and fans across the USA. However, she's got something akin to her right arm that she believes will make her life easier. This signifies that Clark is ready to make a powerful start to her professional basketball career alongside standout center Aaliyah Boston. The prospect of this star duo hitting the court together is not only thrilling for fans, but also exciting for Clark herself. In a recent interview following her draft on Monday night, Clark couldn't hide her enthusiasm about teaming up with Boston and the new dynamic they plan to create.
Obviously, going to an organization that has, in my eyes, one of the best post players in the entire world, that's my point guard eyes just light up at that. And obviously, Aaliyah's been one of my teammates before, so I'm excited. I can't wait. But yeah.
Aaliyah Boston is set to be a game changer for Caitlin Clark, boasting impressive stats from her rookie year, an average of 14.5 points, 8.4 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game in the 2023 season. Boston's impact is clear, and Clark emphasized Boston's accolades, including winning the WNBA Rookie of the Year award. Her remarkable 40% three-point shooting adds another layer to the team's offense. With Boston as a reliable option off screens, Clark expects her playmaking abilities to flow more smoothly, potentially elevating the Fever's offense to new heights. As one of basketball's brightest stars, Caitlin Clark received a WNBA contract that the top 4 players of the Indiana Fever enjoy, being the first overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. Her 4-year contract is valued at $338,056 as per WNBA regulations, meaning the first 4 picks received the same contract value and equal pay. During her senior year at Iowa, Clark earned an estimated $3.4 million from name, image, and likeness deals, ranking among the top NIL earners thanks to partnerships with brands like Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm. As she steps up to the professional level, Clark is expected to maintain most of her sponsorship deals. Her portfolio supports her in securing such privileges in the contract, leaving Iowa as one of the greatest college basketball players ever. Clark's legacy is cemented with records like the most career points in NCAA Division I history and winning prestigious awards like the Naismith Player of the Year. In a surprising twist, Iowa women's basketball star Kate Martin visited the draft to support her teammate Caitlin Clark. Amidst the cheers for Clark, there was a sudden eruption of shock and joy as Martin's name was called in the second round by the Las Vegas Aces with the 18th overall pick. Martin's face lit up with surprise and joy as she heard her name, with her Iowa teammates and coaches rushing to her side in celebration. Martin, overwhelmed by the support and recognition, couldn't help but smile and laugh, especially with her friend Clark's approval. Not only did Clark dominate on the court, but she also drew in new fans, helping to expand the sport's reach. The management of Indiana Fever valued her experience, as her impact was evident in the record-breaking viewership of the 2024 National Championship game between Iowa and South Carolina, watched by an average of 18.7 million viewers and peaking at 24 million. This marked it as the most-watched basketball game since 2018. The Caitlin Clark effect is now taking the nation by storm even before she hits the professional courts. She is influencing the overall basketball game, inspiring young players, and making a historic impact in the world of business. Interestingly, the general manager of Indiana Fever, Lynn Dunn, welcomed Clark with excitement, noting that her impact isn't restricted to the city, but expands beyond to the franchise.
Indianapolis is going to have a huge impact not only on our city, but our franchise too.
Shortly after Caitlin Clark was selected as the first pick by the Indiana Fever in this year's WNBA draft, fans flooded the southern part of the Gainbridge Fieldhouse concourse. They eagerly lined up to buy Clark-related merchandise, including shirts, hats, and jerseys. However, the demand was so high that the merchandise sold out within an hour. Even the Indiana Fever were caught off guard, announcing on social media that Caitlin Clark jerseys were temporarily out of stock due to the overwhelming demand. With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, Caitlin Clark has proven to be not just a force on the court, but also an economic powerhouse. The impact of the Caitlin Clark effect is evident in both Iowa and Indiana. Matt McGann of the Daily Iowan highlighted Clark's influence, revealing that her impact goes far beyond her scoring abilities. A study by the Common Sense Institute, CSI Iowa, found that Clark's presence significantly boosted attendance at Iowa's women's basketball home games, injecting millions into the state's economy. Amber Mason-Lucan, a CSI board member, praised Clark for elevating women's sports and putting Iowa on the map. Attendance at home conference games skyrocketed by 2.8 times since Clark arrived in Iowa City, with nearly 15% of fans now traveling from out of state to catch her in action.
As long as you can remember.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just dream big, and obviously I went to the University of Iowa. I'm from Iowa. I kind of just bet on myself, and I always believed in myself. And I think that's the biggest thing from a young age. My parents always instilled confidence in me.
As the Hawkeyes clinch the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, analysts predict a historic run for Clark and her team. The excitement isn't just on the court. Ticket prices for women's games have surged, surpassing men's ticket prices by over 50%, showing the high demand to see Clark's brilliance firsthand. Wherever Clark goes, fans follow, bringing business opportunities with them, from small local shops to large corporations. Businesses are gearing up to meet the demand for Clark memorabilia. Clark's impending WNBA declaration promises even more economic growth, with franchises and companies ready to capitalize on her popularity. By implementing innovative manufacturing and logistics solutions, businesses can stay ahead of the curve and meet the demand for all things Caitlin Clark. We're right in the midst of a major shakeup in the WNBA, and it's all thanks to Caitlin Clark's phenomenal performance. She's been lighting up the court, causing quite a stir, but not everyone is on board with the hype. Team USA's coach, Cheryl Reese, has been noticeably silent about Clark's amazing rookie season. The tension is thick, and this could have major implications for the future of women's basketball in the US. Clark is breaking records, leading stats, and drawing unprecedented crowds in the WNBA. Her meteoric rise isn't just confined to the basketball courts, it's making waves across the entire sport. Are we witnessing a conflict that could impact Team USA's choices for the Olympics and upcoming international competitions? Let's talk about how Caitlin is the clear frontrunner for the Rookie of the Year award. The Indiana Fever rookie has everyone in awe with her on-court performance. She's not just topping the rookie charts, she's dominating almost every major statistical category: points, assists, steals, and we're not talking small differences. She's leading by a mile, completely reshaping expectations for first-year WNBA players. Remember that game against Cheryl Reeve and the Dallas Wings? Caitlin dropped 24 points and racked up 19 assists in a single match. That's not just scoring like a machine, she's also making her teammates shine. These are the kinds of stats we expect from seasoned veterans, not rookies. Clark's efficiency is another standout. Her shooting percentages, including three-pointers and free throws, are elite. She's not just playing a lot, she's playing smart and efficiently. The only area she's not leading among rookies is rebounds, but even there, she's the best among guards. It's like she's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. These numbers aren't just impressive, they're historic. Clark is on track to have one of the best rookie seasons in WNBA history, and she makes it look effortless. Yet, not everyone is cheering. While fans and analysts are wowed, some key figures in women's basketball seem a bit uneasy. Let's dive into the controversy swirling around Caitlin Clark and its potential impact on the future of women's basketball in the US. While Caitlin is lighting up the courts, a quieter storm is brewing behind the scenes, centered around Cheryl Reeve, head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, and more importantly, Team USA. After Clark's stellar performance against the Lynx, something unusual happened. Reeve, known for her candidness and detailed analyses, refused to comment on Clark's game. This silence is striking in a league where praising emerging talents is the norm. But why is this so significant? Reeve isn't just a WNBA team coach. As the coach of Team USA, she plays a crucial role in forming the team that will represent the United States in international competitions. With the Olympics approaching, every word or lack thereof counts. This silence raises serious questions. Is Reeve having trouble separating her role with the Lynx from her responsibilities with Team USA, or is there something deeper going on? Reeve's reluctance to acknowledge Clark's obvious talent is causing a buzz among fans, players, and analysts. Some argue this could indicate resistance to changes in the established dynamics of women's basketball in the US. Others wonder if there are legitimate concerns about how Clark's style of play would fit into Team USA's structure. What makes the situation even more intriguing is the stark contrast between Clark's reception by the public and this apparent hesitation from the inner circles of basketball. While arenas buzz with the energy Clark brings, there seems to be a disconnect behind the scenes. Despite all this, Clark remains the clear front-runner for Rookie of the Year. Her numbers are so impressive that some analysts are already mentioning her in MVP conversations, something almost unheard of for a rookie. Not everyone is comfortable with the current narrative. Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky is having a standout season. Known for her physical play and skill in the paint, Reese is leading rookies in rebounds. Some fans and analysts argue that Reese's contributions, although less flashy than Clark's, deserve more recognition. This debate has led to some controversial suggestions, like splitting the Rookie of the Year award between Clark and Reese. However, this idea was quickly criticized by many who argue it would devalue the award and ignore Clark's clear statistical advantage. The Rookie of the Year discussion is highlighting a larger tension within the league. Some veterans, while impressed with Clark's talent, have expressed concerns about the disproportionate attention she is receiving. There's a sense among some players that the intense focus on Clark might be overshadowing other stories and talents in the league. A'ja Wilson, the current MVP and one of the most respected voices in the WNBA, acknowledged Clark's impact, but also reminded everyone that the league is full of exceptional talent. Wilson emphasized the importance of celebrating all players who are raising the game's level. This situation puts the WNBA in a delicate position. On one hand, the hype around Clark is bringing unprecedented attention to the league. On the other hand, there's a genuine concern about maintaining balance and ensuring other talented players are not left out of the season's narrative. As the Rookie of the Year debate continues, a larger question looms over the league. How will all this drama affect Team USA's formation for upcoming international competitions? Let's dive into the complications and potential consequences of this situation for American women's basketball on the global stage. Team USA's selection for the upcoming international competitions, including the Olympics, is becoming an increasingly delicate issue. With Caitlin Clark's exceptional performance in the WNBA, many fans and analysts expect to see her representing the American team. However, Cheryl Reeve's apparent reluctance to comment on Clark raises some concerning questions. Recently, Team USA had an underwhelming performance in the WNBA All-Star Game, allowing over 60 points in the paint and showing defensive weaknesses. This disappointing performance has increased scrutiny over Reeve and the selection committee's choices. The absence of players who had notable performances in the All-Star Game from Team USA's list is also causing controversy. Many are questioning whether selections are being made based on current merit or if other factors are influencing decisions. Clark's case is particularly intriguing. Her ability to create plays, shoot from long distance, and elevate her teammates seems to align perfectly with the international style of play. However, her inexperience in international competitions could be seen as a risk factor. There are also political and marketing considerations. Clark has proven to be a media sensation, capable of attracting new fans and increasing interest in women's basketball. Her inclusion in Team USA could bring unprecedented attention to the team in international competitions. On the other hand, established veterans and regular Team USA members might feel threatened by this new wave of talent. Balancing experience with the potential of new talents is a challenge that Reeve and the selection committee face. The final decision on Team USA's composition will have implications beyond the courts. It will send a message about the values and priorities of American women's basketball. Will the team opt for a more conservative approach, relying on experienced players, or will it embrace the wave of change represented by Clark and other standout rookies? Caitlin Clark is literally changing the game both on and off the court. The energy when Clark is on the court is incredible. Fans are packing arenas, many of them wearing the Indiana Fever's number 22 jersey. This isn't just happening at home games. Even when the Fever plays away, the crowd goes wild every time Clark touches the ball. It's like every game is a special event. But the Clark phenomenon doesn't stop in the stands. The WNBA is seeing a significant increase in TV viewership and social media engagement. A recent All-Star game broke viewership records, reaching 3.34 million viewers, and it's no coincidence that Clark was in the spotlight. This surge in interest is having a ripple effect. The league is now in a stronger position to negotiate new media rights, which could mean more exposure and crucially more revenue for the WNBA and its players. Speaking of revenue, Clark is already proving her value off the court as well. She recently signed a significant deal with Nike, a move that not only benefits Clark but also elevates the profile of the entire league. This is opening doors for other players to secure better contracts and sponsorships. The Clark effect is also influencing the league's future. The WNBA announced plans for 2 new expansion teams in the next 2 years. This decision is not isolated. It's a direct reflection of the growth and renewed interest that players like Clark are bringing to the sport. Perhaps the most profound impact of Clark is inspiring the next generation. Young basketball players now have a new star to look up to, someone who's proving it's possible to dominate the game with skill, intelligence, and charisma. Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's redefining what it means to be a superstar in women's sports. Did you hear about Caitlin Clark, the WNBA rookie who's been breaking records and attracting millions of viewers? She's facing some serious bullying from within her own league. Even LeBron James and Stephen Curry have stepped in to defend her, calling out the jealousy and unfair treatment. What does this say about the state of women's basketball when one of its brightest stars is under attack from her peers?
Yes, and you have other players who are going to knock down shots from the three-point line. And now you can't collapse quite as much, right?
On the court, Caitlin has been the target of some pretty unsportsmanlike behavior. In her very first WNBA game, she faced intense physical play, including a controversial foul by Dejanai Carrington of the Connecticut Sun. It wasn't just a hard foul, it was followed by what many saw as a deliberate attempt to mock Caitlin. This kind of hostility isn't just about tough competition, it's personal. Off the court, the attacks have been even more blatant. For instance, Carrington took to social media to criticize Caitlin, stating that she picked the wrong league if she thought she could just shut up and dribble. This kind of public shaming is harsh, especially for a rookie just trying to find her footing in the professional league. The criticism doesn't stop there though. Caitlin has also received negative comments from WNBA legends and current players. Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoops questioned the legitimacy of Caitlin's college scoring records, insinuating that Caitlin had an unfair advantage. This kind of undermining is not only inaccurate, Caitlin broke records within the standard 4 years, but also diminishes her hard-earned achievements. Another star, Breanna Stewart, dismissed Caitlin's accomplishments by stating that without a championship title, her legacy would be incomplete. That's tough to swallow, especially when it's coming from those who should ideally be role models and mentors. Why do these other women in the WNBA have to be so nasty? You know, us guys catch a lot of flack for being rude and insensitive, but you don't see this kind of behavior in the NBA. These ladies need to do better, so why all the backlash? A lot of it boils down to simple jealousy. Caitlin's rise has been swift, and her popularity immense, which naturally breeds envy among some who've been in the league longer but haven't garnered the same kind of attention. She's also bringing in massive viewership and revenue, which you'd think would be a win for everybody, but instead, it's stirred up resentment. Some players feel overshadowed and believe that Caitlin's success diminishes their own achievements because they aren't the star poster children. It gets uglier because there's also the issue of perceived privilege. Caitlyn's been accused of benefiting from white privilege and what some people call pretty privilege. The argument is that her marketability is enhanced because she's white and conventionally attractive, making her more relatable to a broader audience. TV hosts like Sunny Hostin and Jamel Hill have echoed these sentiments, suggesting that Caitlyn's race and looks play a significant role in her fame. It's a complicated topic, but it adds another layer to the animosity this young rookie faces. Another factor is Caitlyn's position as a heterosexual white athlete in a league that prides itself on diversity. The WNBA has been a champion of inclusion, celebrating LGBTQ+ athletes and players of color. Caitlyn, with her mainstream appeal, stands out in this landscape, and not always in a welcome way. Some see her as a symbol of traditional norms that the league is trying to move beyond. This resistance isn't necessarily about Caitlyn's personality, but what she represents to some within the community. Regarding this messed up behavior, I don't know about y'all, but the last time I checked, being inclusive means being inclusive. That's not exactly how some people in the WNBA are acting. When it comes to defending Caitlin Clark, some of the biggest names in the NBA have stepped up, showing just how much respect and admiration they have for her. Stars like LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and other basketball legends have all voiced their support, making it clear that they see Caitlyn for the phenomenal player she is, regardless of any kind of perceived privilege. I mean, look, you could be the whitest person in the world and a straight 10, but if you can't play hoops, nobody's going to care about you on the court. Just saying.
You know, just had this kind of, like you said, you don't want to say hate, but just like animosity, like towards me and you know, and what I could provide. And I didn't even come in with that.
LeBron James has been vocal about Caitlin Clark's treatment, drawing parallels between her experience and his own journey. LeBron knows a thing or two about entering the professional sports world under immense scrutiny. He's faced animosity from the get-go and has seen similar patterns with his son, Bronny, who's also navigating a path filled with both praise and hate. LeBron didn't hold back when he tweeted, "If you don't rock with Caitlin Clark's game, you're just a flat-out hater. Stay far away from them, please." It's a powerful statement that underscores his belief in her talent and his disdain for those who criticize her unjustly. LeBron's perspective is rooted in his personal experience of dealing with haters and understanding the pressures of being a young, outstanding athlete.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence. Can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from.
Stephen Curry has also shown strong support for Caitlyn, praising her incredible skills and contributions to the game. Known for his exceptional shooting ability, Curry has often been compared to Caitlyn in terms of their long-range prowess. He's commented on how Caitlyn's ability to make unbelievable passes and score from seemingly impossible distances mirrors his own style of play. Curry's admiration goes beyond her technical abilities. He appreciates how she's elevating the women's game and drawing significant attention to the WNBA. He sees a bit of his own journey in hers, the journey of proving doubters wrong and redefining what's possible in basketball. Other NBA stars have echoed this support. Shaquille O'Neal, for instance, has addressed the professional jealousy Caitlyn faces. He's pointed out that her presence is raising the profile of the WNBA, something that benefits everybody, even if some players might not see it that way. Shaq is out there calling it for what it is, professional jealousy. He explained that when somebody new gets a lot of attention, it's natural for others to feel envious, but it's important to recognize and respect the talent. And he's talking about Caitlin Clark, not Shaq Fu, just saying.
LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty girls.
Charles Barkley didn't mince words either. He called out the pettiness of some WNBA players, saying, "Y'all petty girls. I expect men to be petty. We're the most insecure group in the world. Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all private charters and all the money and visibility she's bringing into the WNBA. You know what I'm saying?" Barkley's blunt take really highlights the irony of the situation. Caitlyn is significantly boosting the league's visibility and revenue, yet she's still facing hostility. Come on, ladies, she's helping y'all get paid more. Stop hating. Even Jeff Teague has weighed in, criticizing how Caitlyn's rise has been handled. On his podcast, he expressed disappointment in how the WNBA players have treated Caitlyn, stating that they played it all wrong. Instead of embracing her and leveraging the increased attention for the betterment of the league, some have chosen to undermine her achievements. His perspective adds to the growing chorus of voices calling for a shift draft and how Caitlyn is received by her peers. Look, life is a story, and in the books of our lives, we are our own main characters, wanting everything to be about us. But jealousy is playing a huge role here. Caitlyn's rise to fame has been meteoric, and with that fame comes higher earnings and a lot of attention. Caitlyn's bringing in record-breaking viewership and revenue, and that kind of success can breed resentment. Some players might feel overshadowed and believe that their own contributions are being overlooked because of the buzz around Caitlyn. If this were retail and some new young gun came into the store and started making bank for the company, nobody would be mad at that kid because they've got natural skill, aptitude, and talent, and they're helping everybody succeed. But make that person a woman in the WNBA, and it just gets nasty. Think about that for a second. What are your thoughts on all this? Let me know in the comments.